is a visitor center. You have to understand that Avalanche struck the area in 1853. This town was abandoned for 5 years. And I'm standing downtown. Look at this. A lot of old churches. There's wine tasting, Oktoberfest, the 150th year celebration of Sierra City. June 21st and 22nd. They'll have the whole street blocked off and it might be rides. There's a lot of gold. People kept coming back. I'll show you the Sierra Buttes. This area has been occupied by 5,000 years. There are ancient petroglyphs here. Around Lacey Meadows, Khyber's Flat, Holly Lake. Let's put it this way. Let me put it in these words. The Madu, the Miwok, and the Washoe all lived in Sierra County. They weren't at war with each other, but different parts of Sierra County is extremely small. Sierra City is one of the main areas in Sierra County, and this national forest is not as large as, per se, the El Dorado National Forest or Desolation Wilderness, places like that, the Carson Iceberg Wilderness. These peaks are much smaller, maybe 7,000 feet as opposed to some 12 and 13,000 foot peaks up in the Carson Pass or further in near Yosemite. Some of them peaks are magnificent. Flowers are beginning to bloom, even though it's 40 degrees. Immigration began in 1844. First American immigrants passed through, which was the Mormon Battalion. By 1847, thousands of migrants had moved over this trail into California from Coloma, where gold was discovered in 1848, at Sutter's Mill, near Sutter's Mill, and there was a gold rush in 1849. Over 100 mines are found in this very area that you see. 100 mines, plus mines, all in through the spires of the mountains. There's mines near some of these peaks. There's a lot of wagon trails that you can get to. There's a creek that flows through town. There's a creek and then the river's straight ahead in this canyon, but the creek is over here. And a lot of these structures you see date back to the 1800s. It's like taking a step back in time. It really is. I feel like I'm walking back in time. And I'm going to put this segment, different segments all together on my site, just so you can see the town, see the cemetery, see the Kentucky Mill, which we're going to do an investigation inside when it's open. They're not open. It's a Masonic Lodge, 2-story building with a basement. This was known for its placer gold. The river below that flows brought placer gold. This was also all underwater at one time. And now today it was a shallow sea, a shallow ocean. And today these mountains have rose up. For example, the buttes that are up on top. I heard also a large asteroid or meteorite hit the area a million years ago. There was 300 million year old sediment that was found, proving that this was under an ocean. But there's also signs that the gold came from an asteroid impact in this very region. And that's why there's so much placer gold and gold found in the lakes. Not just because the glaciers moved the gold from mountains and carved out these ranges. This area was so rich that they built the mines. Some of the mines were built right on the river. They didn't have to go underground. They just took the placer gold right out of the river. I'll give you more history when we get downtown. Look at a waterfall, Jared. Wow. So the creek does flow through town. Come on, Jared. Trust me. Tammy's got a visitor's guide. See what we can visit. Were those back doors open? Never mind. They weren't. They just opened up. I guess someone went in there, huh? Just want to show everybody, this is a totem pole. Looks like maybe a Native American miner, a bird, and a Native American lady holding what appears to be a basket, and then a black bear. There's a bunch of relics down here, rusty relics. It has to have some meaning, right? But now that the sun's kind of coming out and it's not as gloomy, it's really starting to become a nice day here. We're supposed to get up to 70, but we are in a narrow canyon, so there's a lot of snow on the other side of the buttes too, so it could be a lot cooler here than it would in the Valley of California or Central California. But wow. It's closed. Yeah. They're redoing some renovating here. Look at the waterfalls. I gotta film this. These are gardens. Very lush, very beautiful. This creek flows into the Yuba River, may I add. Just want to show people, this is 1800s. All the stonework you see, today a lot of these older homes have been restored, but we're coming up in a few old wood structures and walls. We got to get to the side. They're turning off. The whole town is closed. I've seen 2 people. Hold on. I'm going to take a pic of you guys in front of the barns. I just want to show people the stonework. Beautiful. Get over, Oz. That's a big trailer. Very old barn. 1800s old. Awesome. Walking past the old barn. I probably should get over. This is a highway. But I want to show you, well, besides a creepy little scarecrow made out of clothes and stuffed stockings as a face, check out all this old stonework. You will never see sites like this. Most sites, the stones have collapsed. They're still intact from the 1800s. Wow. That's cool. Rust, stone, historic buildings, I can dig it. We're walking down a street that has rustic cabins. I also took a picture of an old wagon wheel, which I'll include in this video. But there's a lot of remnants of the town. 1879. A lot of remnants like wagon wheels, old barns and fences. For example, these are all 1800 homes, year-old homes, and they were renovated. We're heading to a park. We're also going to go check out the river and some other historic buildings that are back in along the Yuba River and see what we can find. We'll keep on video recording the entire town until it's complete, which might take us another hour or 2. I mean, you really have to explore if you're going to find places like these. You really do. And we will come back, and we got a hiking map, and there's hundreds of hikes. There's 50 lakes. There's, not to say hundreds of hikes, but we've seen 50 to 60 hikes we can do up here. All of them vary in range, elevation gain. I'll tell you what, that mountain you see, the Sierra Buttes, I want to stand on there someday. I'll take the Pacific Crest Trail and I'll hike all day if that's what it means. You can kind of see what the residential area looks like. A lot of cabins, wood homes, very rustic. There's a barn. This was quite the town, and it's been rebuilt over and over, and it's survived. In the 1950s, it's when tour buses started to come here and say, hey, take a look at this ghost town. Because most of it was renovated and restored. You don't find this. You go to most semi-ghost towns, everything's abandoned, but not this place. There's the buttes. Oh my God. Look at that. Wow. Unbelievable. The Madu Native Americans came here. They actually stood on top of Sierra Butte. And they used the rocks for acorn grinding. They had village sites. There's petroglyphs somewhere around the butte in this area. But those are the buttes. The Sierra Buttes. There's about 4 mines up there. And Back in its day, the Young American mine had a 40 stamp mill. 40 stamps. It's one of the biggest stamp mills in the West. Can you imagine the sound it made? The whole town probably heard it. Unbelievable. But this is a town that produced a lot of gold. The Sierra Buttes mines, that's the Sierra Buttes. 17 million in gold was produced there. This town's boom was in the 1850s. Actually, the 1860s and the 1880s were good years. And then somewhere around the 1920s. But we're going to a park. Now, that's a creepy looking house. We're going to check out this park, see what it has to offer. The Monumental Mine, which isn't too far from here, produced a 106-pound nugget. One of the largest nuggets ever discovered in California. Just another historical fact. The peak in front of us stands at 8,600 feet almost. On the 4th of July, many of the town folks would climb the mountain. Just a tradition. Now everybody uses four-wheel drive or four-wheelers and off-road terrain vehicles. Back then they rode on horseback. Then they lowered ropes to the ladies. Well, that's kind of scary. Okay. If men can do it, ladies can do it. But the problem was they had long skirts, corsets, and often the skirts would get tangled up on the rocks. But you could see, once you get to the top, you could see 4,000 feet. You could even see Lassen National Park, Lassen Peak from up on top of those buttes. Just amazing. And I'll get more into a little more history once we get downtown. Just kind of wanted to show you what the park looked like so you can get an idea, well, what the back roads in town look like so you can get an idea that there's still stone walls and a lot of the history has been preserved here. Definitely worth visiting. How can you not visit this place? Every building's historic. Every wall was built with the masons' hands. The masons played a role in the building and the construction of this town. One can only wonder, to come here and not enjoy the park, the buildings, the mountains, the cool, pristine weather, and fresh air. Sounds being a monkey. A bunch of kids. This is a pretty cool little park, huh? Amongst all the historical buildings, and I won't. This is cool. I think I'm gonna go in there. I go in the baby swings. I'm scared. Kick it. Don't hurt yourself. Everybody's a kid when they come to the park. Here, just put it down on the bench. Really? That thing's gonna fall off. Not a good idea. It's time for Lord Rick picture time. Sierra City Community Park. This was not listed online. I'm glad Tammy found it, actually. I wanted to find a park here we could just kind of sit for a little bit. But this park's dedicated in memory of Lorraine Brown Hennings, whose family settled this part of the flats in the 1800s and who conveyed the property to the county of Sierra on September 15, 2006, concluding her long-standing dream that one day this property would become a park to benefit the community of Sierra City. Upon conveyance, she asked that the deed state for the benefit, use, and enjoyment of the children of Sierra City. I guess I'm not allowed because I've played on everything and bigger than the equipment, but I'm a big kid, so I guess that counts. Family and friends of Lorraine Brown Hennings can always look to the special place in fond memory of her, recognizing her affection for children and her love for the community. And let me tell you something, folks. The Hennings family, I believe, owned a mine in the 1800s. I believe there's a Hennings mine. So this was a wealthy family, and she had the property and donated it for a park, and I'm glad. This is a nice little park. It's historic. There's historic buildings and mountains around us and pretty views, and this is what it's about. This is what exploring's about. You definitely have to love being in a playground in a semi-ghost town that's totally renovated and preserved, nestled in the high Sierras. Well, it's actually not as high as some of the other passes and parts of the Sierras. I mean, Yosemite has 6,000-foot cliffs probably 4,000-foot cliffs, but not here. But actually, if you stay on the top of the buttes and you fell off that cliff between the mountains, yeah, it's probably about 1,000-foot fall. I couldn't do it. You could take the Pacific Crest Trail and stand up on top, but you don't want to get near the edge. Those rocks are quartz. And the Sierra Buttes quartz mine exists on top. There's a lot of mining machinery. You can drive all around these dirt roads and find all sorts of things like ore carts, mining equipment, chains, rail lines, mines. They're everywhere. But we didn't come here to do the mines. We came here to visit the town. This schoolhouse was built in the 1800s. And now I believe it's been turned into a, I don't know, maybe a little restaurant or lodge. Possibly a hotel. When was that established? What? When was it established? Yes.
1868.
1868. That's history right there. As you can see, the outskirts of town have some homes. For example, you can look and see the gates all rusty and half open. Kind of a creepy house, and I bet you it's haunted too. Careful, guys.
Oh, look at this JT.
I'm a little curious myself. They got a for sale sign on that beautiful 3-story rustic looking cabin. That's nice. Some of these homes are very beautiful and large inside. Not all of them. But this here is not as a quaint little house. It's got a basement, a second floor, and a first floor. No garage right there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's kind of a storage. But I mean, what am I saying? I can put my vehicle in the driveway.
Yeah. We're walking downtown. When I get downtown, I'll tell you the rest of the history. I'm only giving everybody bits and pieces, and I'm going to compile a documentary dedicated to Sierra City. And then we'll hit Gold Lake, we'll hit the Kentucky Mill and Mine, and we'll hit a little trail in town here that takes us up to the Yuba River and one of the most beautiful waterfalls in this county. This is the type of place you don't even have to lock your doors. That's the type of setting this is, and people really don't here from what I've read on various sites. But $30 million in gold and a 106-pound nugget, I bet you a 106-pound nugget today would be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, no doubt.
I know where it is.
Everything in the winter is closed until spring and summer. Today is more about tourism. That's what this town relies on. That is why I'm purposely promoting this town. We're going to put videos, pictures. We're going to put this town on the map so it continues to survive and doesn't become a full-out ghost town someday because the walls start falling apart, the homes start falling apart. I don't think the residents would let that happen. You're talking, some of these structures are almost 150 years old. So you have to understand that towns come and go throughout history. And this is just another town that's one of the most preserved ghost towns in Sierra County, semi-ghost towns. It's not even semi. Everything's been renovated and is occupied. Walking down that lonely road. This is the highway. Big Screen Garden Falls you guys have seen. I'll take you to Love's Falls. The river's flowing really fast due to snow melt. Many of the successful mines up at the top of the Sierra Butte, there was over 100 mines. The Klondike, the Chip, it's called Chips, Phoenix, Colombo, Young America, Sierra Buttes Quartz Mine. Those are just some. I know at least about 50 names by heart. I studied and studied because I wanted to give you guys a really good documentary so you could feel like you're walking in the Sierras. The wooden one, that's pretty cool. Handcrafted. Doesn't get any better than that. Avalanches, can you imagine, struck the town for almost 50 years, all the way up until 1911. All they did was keep moving the town away from the buttes, away from this tall mountain. You could actually see some of the steep areas on top, the ridge lines. And what happens is you get a bunch of snow melt piled on top of snow melt. a little ice and rain, the icy rain to weigh it down, and pow. Slightest vibrations, even just someone yelling at the mines could cause it to just totally collapse and wipe out a house or two, and I'm sure people were killed. You see in the cemetery, a lot of kids, a lot of deaths. Some of those people probably were avalanche victims, buried under 12 feet of snow. That's why we don't hike in the winter in the Sierras. We go out in central Nevada. We don't have to put up with dangerous avalanches of snow. In the Sierras, you do. You do. So you have to be careful. Look at this. Nice little house nestled back in here. Historic. Beautiful. This is the gallery. What is this place? Looks like a brewery. There's a statue up there I'd love to get a picture of, but I don't know if I should go up and around or what. This used to be an area of heavy snowstorms, but the last 4 or 5 years have been so mild here. Generally, as some of the locals have told me, this area is under snow all the way into spring. And as you can see, there's hardly any snow on the mountains. On the other side of the Sierra Buttes, there's a little snow. But this is a town that survived. It overcame. It shows you the resilience of the pioneers. And you have to give credit to the Masons. They're the ones who carved those gravestones, built many of the walls. It's like going back in time. Actually, I was wrong. This is a Wi-Fi coffee shop. Espresso drinks, hot, iced, and blended. Nice. This is a coffee shop I could have a drink at, or a cup of joe. I read a lot of good reviews about a lot of hikers going off-road and coming here and getting treated real friendly, even though they were all muddy. And a lot of people, a lot of hikers come here. This is a hiking area mecca, a camping mecca. 50 lakes surround this city. A lot of tunnels. There's probably over 15 miles of tunnels, mine tunnels, maybe even 20 to 50 miles worth. I did look at an old 1800s map, and there was tunnels that went for miles connecting to other various mines. Surprisingly, a lot of ghost towns have been destroyed by forest fires, including Last Chance. I heard that most of it burned down. I'm the only one with videos and pictures, besides a few others online. Watch it, guys. Just so everybody also knows, the avalanche that hit here in the spring. People didn't think in the spring you could get hit with an avalanche. I almost was in an avalanche in the spring by Showers Lake. And yes, it does happen. More frequent than you think. The problem was people had gold fever. You know what gold fever does to a person? Makes them crazy. Seriously, they didn't care about the avalanches. They kept coming back. This is the Masonic Lodge. Now a real estate agency. It says Jan Coatel Realty and Notary Public. Wow. That's still history. It was the lure of gold that brought a lot of these people in. A lot of beautiful historic churches, scenic views. I still want my coffee. I'm going to walk down here real quick. I'll be right back, okay?
I'm going to walk this up and throw it in the garbage.
That place. I think it's the Sierra City Hotel.
Oh.
Oops.
I'll hold it.
Oh, by the way, folks, the whole back's loaded. We got sleds. We're going sledding later by Gold Lake if there's any snow. There's a lot of poor reviews at some of the places. I'm not going to lie. Most of the restaurants are very respectable businesses, but there's a couple. There's a pub, one of the oldest pubs here, and I've read reviews, and one guy asks, "What's the soup of the day?" He asked the waitress, some guy had vomited on the floor. She goes, "That would be it." They found flies in their food, gnats in their drinks, hair in their brews. Definitely don't want to do that, right? Here's the post office. Yes, this town actually does have one. Pretty cool if you ask me. A lot of American flags. These people are very proud of their town, and they should be. It's a beautiful town. Hopefully I can bolster some tourism and bring back some of the, really show this place off in another light like nobody has. That way more people, more of my friends can come out here, visit, eat at the pubs, the restaurants, spend a little money, and keep this town alive. So all downtown, it's quaint and quiet. It's a little general store. Most people operate a business. It's nice.
Morning.
Good morning. Old country store. Sierra City Weather Station. This place is for sale. Old Sierra City Hotel. Nice. Look at the stonework in this place. Unbelievable. All these buildings you see date back to the 1800s. Community Hall. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Titus Hideaway. Wow. Looks like this is the last of the historic buildings, but I hope you guys enjoyed your tour. This is Lord Rick. Let's check out this place, Titus Hideaway. Like I said, a lot of rustic lodges and inns and bed and breakfast type of places. Some of them could be haunted. I've heard of hauntings in the cemetery. I've heard of some of these buildings having a ghost story or two. But look at the history. These are pictures of the past, remnants of the past. If you could see your ancestors all standing in a row, would you be proud of them or not? Or don't you know? Some strange discoveries are made climbing family trees, and some of these you know do not particularly please. If you could see your ancestors all standing in a row, there might be some perhaps you wouldn't care to know, but there's others. Another question which requires a different view. If you could meet your ancestors, would they be proud of you? Wow. Beautiful. Just a memorial. This lady, she's standing in front of one of the mines. And I've seen some of these structures in town. Like I said, it's like taking a walk back in time. This building we passed, I believe the service garage is now a house. You'd use this to scrub your clothes on. And there's even a, look, gems and an old gold pan. Wow. Cool. So I want to bid everybody a farewell. I gave you a pretty accurate history of what Sierra City's about. It's a very wholesome place. Very wholesome. And everyone said hi to me. When I was in a ghost town in Nevada, I had some lady try to send her dogs after me for taking pictures of the ghost town. It's a public place. I have people staring out their windows, not waving, but everybody waves. Everybody's friendly. It's a great place, and it should be cherished. I'll do some more filming at the Kentucky Mill and Mine. The museum is closed. The mill is closed. You can enter the mill and see once a day some working stamp machines. 1968. Imagine that, seeing some stamps coming up and down. Some of the only working stamps in the American West. I try to make things easy to explain. I don't want to complicate things. I don't want to get all scientific and technical. Just give you a basic lowdown of what this place is about. The history, show you some of the shops and historic homes and rustic cabins. And eventually we're going to head a little out into the mountains. I'm going to take you guys to a lake and we're going to go look for Sasquatch. We've already done our ghost investigation in town. We investigated the cemetery, and then we're going to go out to Gull Lake, see if we can. There's a couple lakes actually around Gull Lake, but we'll do Gull Lake, maybe Goose Lake, Snag Lake. There's 4 lakes in that little area, and it's possible, since it's so muddy back there, Maybe we'll find some Bigfoot tracks. I don't know. But this is the back of the van. It's packed with food, supplies, sleds, extra clothing, blankets, even a gold mining pad. Just want to say peace. It's Lord Rick. Also want to wish everybody a happy St. Patty's Day.